Koyunbaba 4. As you prepare yourself to learn this piece, it's critical that you have a balance between index and ring finger in pull-offs. So that's the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then you actually have the 5th fret of the 3rd string, right? And just get used to that balance, right? And then you actually do you move that business over to the 5th fret, right? And jump over to 7th position with 2, right? So if you were to take away the pull-offs, make sure that I'm not lying to you, yes. And then you come back. 5th position, 3rd position, 2nd position, 1 and 2, right? And that's just the beginning to the first 2 lines of this business, right? Now, you have to think of right? Now, once you master that, we have to add the D string into the equation, right? And you're playing, for the most part, I was using I and M right now, but for the most part, you really want to be playing with index and thumb. You're playing with just 2 fingers. And I know it sounds very complicated once you start playing it, but really take a look at this. And then we have something a little bit different, but if you actually play it fast, right, and then you actually, I believe, have a repeat of this whole thing. No, he's going to move on, but this is going to actually come back, right? So if we actually work on the timing, you know, think of triplets in a way. Pull off D string, right? So you have to work on the timing. And then we actually have to employ something other than 1 and 3 or 1 and 2. Here comes the pinky finger. And it's just a passage that is going to take you all the way up to the neck and then come right back. So, and this is actually beginning on the 3rd system. And you'll notice that he's marking 4 and 2. And that's a good idea because you're going to get used to using 2. You're going to use your 2nd finger to travel all the way up the neck and all the way back. That's all there is to it. This time you're in 4th position, then you're in 6th position, then 7th position, 9th position, then 11th position, 12th position, 13th position, back to 12th, back to, 11, sorry, 9th, the 7th position, 6th, 4th, then 2nd, then 1st. He even has you do that on the 1st fret with the 2nd finger, I guess 0 position if you may, right? So again, your index is what tells what position you're on. You're really playing with the second finger. So if we actually take all of that, starting on the third system, repeat. And then he's going to bring you right back to the same original theme. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. Yes, he's going to send you right after that. He's going to send you to the very beginning of the piece. Da capo plays section A to B, right? So you're doing the same business again. And then, because he likes that theme so much, and then he's going to switch. Then he's going to switch it around. You're going to do almost the same thing that you did on the third string. You're going to do it on the fourth string. A little bit different, right? You have to, a little bit different. You're going to have to get used to playing back and forth the third and the second string open. I did it immediately with I and M. It's supposed to be the index finger, right? So if you watch. So you start out of second position. When you get to first position, the second time around, when you get to first position, you're going to actually do a little bit of a vamp, which is you're just dancing in one position, right? So, and then you're going to switch things around. You're going to now do almost the same treble. It's going to be different around the 13th and 14th fret because of the diatonic nature of the piece, D minor, right? And you really are going to be traveling with your second finger again, but this time playing with your index finger back and forth on the third and second string, but your melody is going to be played by your thumb as you hammer and pull off. Right? So you actually just play a pull-off coming, a hammer-on actually. You actually just play a hammer-on coming onto the F of the D string, right, after the vamp. So here's the vamp. Right? Coming out of the vamp, you're going to actually jump into playing that same scale up the neck and returning on the D string, right? So here's the vamp. Then he's going to bring you right back to the original theme. So let's talk about the positions that you're traveling here, right? So coming out of the vamp, you were in the vamp on third position, right? So you're coming out of third position in the vamp. So you are in second position when you start the ascending scale on the D string, right? That is fourth position. Just like before, sixth position. Seventh position. Like before, ninth position. This time you're in 13th position. And you're back to 14th position. 13th. 11th. 9th. 7th. 6th. 4th. 2nd. And then use your index finger. And then you're back on. After the return, you're going to find yourself jumping over to the next D section of the piece, which is very exciting, and it's going to require that you focus. I think one of the best players of this piece is Bill Cannengeiser. He actually trained himself to play in one direction while he was anticipating the next shift as he was going to do this. So he actually really trained himself to do that, and I think that that's the best way to really play this piece, just to really focus in what you're doing. You're not going to have, well, maybe you will, but if you use a peripheral vision through your eyes, the jumps are going to be so large, the shifts are going to be so large that in the displacement you might be missing. So really train yourself to look where you're going to go and then just finding your position, right? So the return, this is back to C, right? And then from there, you're in the next page, you're in D. That's a pull-off with pinky on the first string. Then the second string with the second finger on the A, well, what would be an A if you read regular notation, not the scrollatura, you're on the 10th fret with your second finger, right? And then you're back over G natural, and that's on your 8th fret. And then you are on, then you should be. This is just the beginning of what is going to be the jumps. What I was referring to earlier comes up in just a bit, right? So again, we start here. We're in 9th position, your karate chop position, right? Right, after you jump over to the 5th position, right? Instead of jumping all the way to the 12th fret, you're going to get the 7th fret. Right? So originally you're jumping from the 12th fret, 10th fret, 12th on the 1st, 2nd string on the 8th, 7th fret. Once you get to the 5th fret, you're going to be on the 7th fret for the 1st string. Keep your travels, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. So from the 7th fret, you're going to go to, so you start out on the 12th fret, 1st string, get to your 2nd string, then get to 7th position. It's easier. once you get to the 5th position on the 2nd string, your 1st string is going to grab the 7th fret. Once you get to the 5th position on the 2nd string, your 1st string is going to grab the 7th fret with your pinky, right? Then you jump over to the 3rd position, back to the 7th, 2nd fret, back to the 7th, back to 3rd fret, back to 7th, back to 2nd fret. Right? So it's just a playing around with your index and thumb. So you play the 3rd string and you hammer with your pinky. You're in 2nd position. Pick up. When you get here, you're going to be on 2nd position. You start with your index finger, you hammer with your pinky, play with your thumb, up with your index. Notice that I just made a little mistake there. Notice that you are actually ending the first half of that measure with your thumb on the 3rd string and the second half with your thumb on the D string. Right? And then he has to repeat that. At that point, after you do that repeat, you're going to have almost a daisy chain of triplet hammer-ons and pull-off. It seems more complicated than it really is on the music. You start with your index, you hammer with your pinky on the 5th fret. Here comes your thumb. Here comes your index on the same note. Your thumb on the B flat. Your index, the B flat pulls to the 1st fret. Your thumb, your index pulls off to open. Thumb, open 3rd string. The thumb, open 3rd string. Then index plays the 3rd string open, and your pinky is going to hammer the 4th string on the 5th fret. Right? So if you take, as you actually do this next section, it is not as complicated as it may seem. You just have to get, again, that rhythm back and forth of the thumb and index, right? You start with the index. You're in 2nd position. You're going to hammer after plucking the 3rd string open. Sorry. You're going to hammer with the 3rd string open, pinky on the 5th fret. Here comes the same note, the thumb on the 3rd string, and then you're preparing the pull-off. That was the index. That was the thumb. Then index, the thumb, then thumb. Now index is going to play the 3rd string open. Your pinky is going to hammer the 4th string. And then comes the thumb. Then the index plays the 4th string on the 5th fret, pulls off to the 3rd fret with the 2nd finger on the 4th string. And the thumb. just like before when we were going from the third string to the D string, now we're going to go from the fourth string to the fifth string. So you are going to play the index on the fourth string and hammer with your pinky on the fifth string, thumb in the fifth string, index on the fifth string, pulls off to 2, thumb, index pulls off to 1, thumb, index pulls off to open, index plays the fifth string open, and then your pinky is going to hammer on the fifth fret, the thumb, index pulls off from 4 to 2, just like before, thumb to 1. And so if we look at the transition, if we look at the transition, and then he's going to send you to do a repeat. You go da capo, you play A to B, then poi means afterwards, you play from C to D. And then we're going to look at this crazy jump around part. I really encourage you to watch Bill Kennengeiser's video on how to perform this. I'll have another tutorial on how to work this part later on. Enjoy. Okay.